Good day, Saitlanders. How are you? We trust that you are very well indeed, and that you are coping better than many people with the tremendously uh, anguishing events in the world today. I don't know if anguishing is a word in English. Guys, this oil story, if you're unfamiliar with it, a couple of days ago, Saudi Arabia announced that it will cut oil production by 500,000 barrels per day from May until the end of the year. Now, what that means is that there will be less oil on the global market, and that will push up the prices. You know, it's a supply and demand thing, as simple as that. I have since read, I don't know how correct it is because it was mentioned in passing in some other research that I was doing, that in fact it is 1.5 million barrels a day. That the latest announcement comes on top of a previous announcement, and the two apply to the same period of time. Therefore, they must be taken together for this May to the end of the year period. And then this came out in the past 24 hours. It's here. Here we go. Just want to enlarge it nicely. There we go. Okay. Algeria to cut oil production by 48,000 barrels per day starting from May till the end of 2023. This is a series of notices from the past few days. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Novak. Russia is to implement voluntary cut in oil production of 500,000 barrels per day till the end of 2023. It's not starting to smell like a conspiracy, is it? Average production level. Okay. Iraq decides to start a voluntary oil production cut of 211,000 barrels per day as of May and until the end of 2023. Kuwait to voluntarily cut oil production by 128,000 barrels per day starting from May to the end of 2023. This is all from the past few days. Some of them may go back 10 days or even 2 weeks, but they're all recent announcements, particularly from, let's say, roughly the past 2 to 3 days. And some of them explicitly today and yesterday. Oman is to reduce oil production voluntarily by 40,000 barrels per day, starting from May to the end of 2023. The United Arab Emirates is to lower oil production voluntarily by 144,000 barrels per day, starting from May to the end of 2023. And in that notice or notification, they allude to Saudi Arabia having announced the same thing. So the UAE one is very, very fresh. Beg your pardon. Okay, so what's the gist of this video? The gist of this video is that we may be in for enormous fuel price increases this year. Now, some people will say, yes, but that will just enable the United States of America to fill those gaps with fracking of shale oil production. The problem with that is that the cost of shale oil is to produce it is far higher than it is to produce Saudi Arabian and Russian and other oil. To give you some idea, I'll quote here, a world oil price in the range of $55 to $60 per barrel is less than the cost of Russian Arctic oil production, European and Brazilian biofuel production, US and Canadian shale and tight oil, I don't know what that means, production, and Brazilian pre-salt oil production. Again, I don't even know what that means. Right. We've got some comparisons here, but they're a little bit complicated. Let me find an easier one on the next page, I think. I'm going to begin with Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. According to this study, production costs per barrel rarely exceeded $10 per barrel throughout the period of the study, and median average costs were $5.40 a barrel. Close the right one. Okay, here we go to another one. Saudi Arabia, we've already discussed. This study puts it at $8. Iran, $8. Iraq, $11. Russia, remember earlier they were saying $55 to $60 a barrel doesn't cover the cost of producing Russian Arctic oil. So presumably they also have non-Arctic oil. On average, the Russia price is $19.21. Indonesia, $19 some change. US non-shale oil, $21. Now, you may or may not recall that some of the US non-shale oil planned projects were shut down by the Biden administration almost as soon as the Biden administration took office, notably the Keystone XL pipeline. And I think that what we're understanding here is that although US shale would love to jump into the mix and start replacing Saudi Arabian oil, the US non-shale is not so easily able to do that. Okay, Norway, $21.31. US shale, these are the guys who want to get in on the act, $23.35. Canada, $26, almost 27. Venezuela, almost 28. Nigeria, 29. Brazil, 35. The UK, so those are the oil fields in the North Sea, north of Scotland, $44.33. So you can tell that there's a vast difference. There's a large spectrum of range of price between various producers. Very, very interesting. Let's go back to our original point that we were discussing, and that is that so many of these places that produce cheaper oil, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Oman, which is around the corner from, it's part of the Arabian Peninsula where you find Saudi Arabia. Kuwait, also on the Arabian Peninsula, just around the corner from the United Arab Emirates. Iraq, up the road. Algeria, okay, that's in North Africa. All right, so you get the picture. Basically, the guys who produce the cheapest oil in the world are cutting oil production left, right, and center. So even if that oil is replaced by oil from the North Sea, Scotland, oil from Norway, oil from US shale, and so on, the price is still going to go up. Demand is going to be, supply is going to be constrained. Demand is going to be relatively stimulated. People are going to be willing to pay more by $1 or $2 or $5 or $7 or $9, but they may find themselves actually only able to access oil that has to be sold at $15 a barrel more. one of the reasons why NATO, the EU, and the United States, the EU and the United States have imposed the price cap on Russian oil, which we've all heard of over the past year. I'm sure that you've heard the expression many times, price cap, Russian oil, sanctions, what have you, is because Russian oil, some of it in the far north in Siberia, is so expensive to get out of the ground that it can't meet the price cap of $50, $55 to $60 a barrel. So that means that Russia can't sell half, or I don't know what the proportion is, 3/4, 90%, 10%, whatever proportion of its oil. But here's an interesting thing. Japan, which is ostensibly a Western ally, has just in the past few days bought 750,000 barrels of oil above the Russian price, the supposed price cap. And the Japanese issued a statement. I didn't read the whole thing. I just read the headline saying it is vital to our energy needs. And this is the oil that we were able to obtain. The other cheaper oil suppliers, such as Saudi Arabia and Iran and Iraq and Russia, that is to say the non-expensive oil, I suppose, Indonesia, US non-shale, those guys that can come under the price cap, don't have oil for us. We needed to get this oil from Russia. We were willing to pay. I think they paid, I could be mistaken, but $72 a barrel, if my memory serves me correctly. Anyway, guys, I think I've covered the subject well enough. As I said to you earlier, the gist of it is that we may be on a hiding to nothing. We may be, I don't know. If so very many of the cheapest oil producers in the world are cutting back on their oil production for the rest of this year. If you can do something about it, if you are one of those people who is in that very fortunate position, then I suggest that you do. I have a friend who recently showed me that he's bought, I don't want to exaggerate, maybe 20,000 liters of diesel, something like that. Anyway, quite a few thousand liters of diesel. He's got the Spondulux. He's got the Tom. He can do it. Good for him. It's good that he did it. His business will be able to run on, the transportation side of it, on diesel he actually got an unbelievable deal. 15 Rand a litre for the rest of the year, while many other businesses are paying 23, 25, 27, 30, 35, 40. Who knows? Time will tell. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye and God bless all of you.